Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to be reacting to another TikTok video. This is one of my favorite things to do because it is always entertaining. We always learn something new when we react to a TikTok video, even though sometimes it is a bit of a dumpster fire. So today, this one is about dating in 2023 from this lady's perspective here. We're going to watch it, reconvene, and I will tell you what I think. So let's get started. Before reacting though, big thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Their team of gourmet chefs creates each meal using only ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. If you're too busy with end-of-summer plans to cook but want to make sure you're eating well, with Factor you can skip the trip to the grocery store and skip the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality that you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy, then get back outside to soak up the warm August weather. With 34 chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly options, there's always something new to try. Plus, you can round out your meal and replenish your snack supply with an assortment of 36+ quick bites, smoothies, juices, and more satisfying add-ons. Prioritizing my health and wellness is a top priority for me, and Factor saves me so much time and is my go-to lunch when I don't want to cook during the day. They have so many nutritious options for keeping my fridge well-stocked and offer options that make it easy to stick to my wellness goals. I'm obsessed. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Courtney50 to get 50% off of your first Factor box.
I know I cannot be the only female struggling to date in 2023. Like all of the 2000s, I feel like. But in general, like right now, I feel like it is the worst. Like I have no desire to want to talk to you guys or deal with you guys on any level because you're all very disappointing. I don't know if you weren't loved properly or weren't loved enough, whatever the case may be, but when it comes down to it, you're just downright disrespectful. And you don't know how to treat women. You choose yourselves over everything in every circumstance. Even when you see that we've gone out of our way for you and done certain things for you, you continue to choose you, which is good, and you should choose you to a degree, but if you're not giving as much as you're taking, then it's a fucking problem. It's a problem. And we don't need you any longer to make babies. We don't need you to provide anymore, which even though you should, but we don't need you to do that because we are very capable of doing that on our own. And you can see that statistically because we do, and we have been for many years. And it's just saddening to see that we're struggling out here. We're struggling. And quite honestly, we don't need you for anything. We can take care of ourselves in every aspect. And then when I say every, I mean every. There are things in place for everything. So unfortunately for you guys, like you need to be loving, you need to be caring, you need to be more genuine than you've ever been before because we don't actually need you for not one thing. So it's important that you're giving us that physical connection that we need, because if you're not doing that, we can find other ways to get everything else accomplished. So God help us. I don't know what's going to happen, but this has been one hell of a year. And I am over it. And I'm really ready just to have a full-on grown women circle where we can just enjoy our company of each other, travel, go away, do things, and just do what we need to do, because y'all ain't it.
Okay, so there were a few things she said that I would say that I agree with, but the majority, I don't necessarily know if I did. But the first thing I want to talk about is the negative attitude altogether, right? She said, "You're all very disappointing." Great attitude. It's so interesting when you see someone post their experience online, and from the outside looking in, you can clearly see some reasons maybe why a person might be struggling with dating or having a bad experience or just single. This is an observation that I've made as I react to more content like this. In this case specifically, it really starts with this negative attitude the just unpleasantness and the I don't need anyone mentality. So right off the bat, that's just the first issue that I see here. And I'm not trying to bash anybody or say that this woman is a horrible person. I don't know her. We're looking at a 2-minute clip. We can't necessarily assume the entirety of someone's character or what they're going through based off of a 2-minute video. They say, when you assume, you make an ass of you and me. So I try not to do that, okay? But let's keep going. It's incredibly unattractive to men when women have an attitude like this. I'll give an example here from the other perspective. So when men get on the internet and say things like, I don't want a woman, I don't need a woman, all women suck, etc. I could go on and on here. It's incredibly unattractive as well. I wouldn't want to build a life with a man who acted like he didn't need me or want me. That's stepping into a life of being unappreciated with someone who is ungrateful for you and the value that you bring into a relationship. So when you say things like, we don't need you for anything anymore, you fail to see the value that the opposite gender can bring into your life, especially if you're someone who wants a relationship. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later in the video, but I just wanted to mention it really quickly. The next thing I want to talk about is this taking more than you give thing that she mentioned. I actually agreed with this point that she made, so I'd like to acknowledge that. It's not one person in the relationship's responsibility to do all of the work and contribute everything while the other person gives absolutely nothing in return. There has to be a healthy balance of giving and taking. And that goes for both men and women. You can't expect the other person to do absolutely everything while you bring absolutely nothing to the table. You know, it's very easy to demand all of the things that you want from someone else and have this checklist of everything that you're looking for. But I see a lot of people really struggle when it's time to come to the table and give back. Whether you agree with me or not, I think that romantic adult relationships are conditional. So it's important to make sure that you are pulling your weight. And there is truth in the fact that we don't need each other for the things that we maybe did in the past necessarily. You know, women used to rely on men 100% financially, and now we do not. So yeah, women are demanding more from men in other areas. And I do think that as a man, it's important to work on your emotional maturity and what you bring to a relationship emotionally and physically instead of just financially, because I think we're looking for far more than that. That is not a drag on men. And I'm absolutely not saying that there aren't men out there who are already doing that. I think a lot of men are, but I will also be honest and play devil's advocate here a little bit and say I think a lot of the men who do provide those things aren't necessarily the men that women want to date, because sure, they're emotionally available, they're emotionally mature, but they might not have all the other things on the checklist that women are looking for in order to consider him to date and get to that next point. So yes, both men and women have a little bit of work to do, and that's okay. Of course, there might be some overlap, but I think there are also some major differences. So I don't know what it is necessarily, but I do think that this year, it has gotten significantly more difficult compared to the past. And you can let me know if you've had that experience down below. Obviously, I'm not dating right now, but just from people that I know that are dating, like they seem to be struggling more than ever before. And I think a lot has to do with the way that we're choosing a partner maybe isn't necessarily leading to the success that we want. You know, we're looking for perfection. We're looking for someone to check all of the boxes that is nearly impossible to find in another human being. We're giving up on things way too quickly because the grass is always greener. There's someone better that's going to come along. I mean, there are a lot of issues here, but I do think that in 2023 specifically, like there's something in the water. We're losing our minds. It's time to come back down to earth a little bit. The next point that I want to talk about is her saying that we don't need you in any aspect that I touched on earlier in the video. Women with this mindset are often single or really struggle when they try to date for a few reasons. And honestly, men who have this mindset struggle as well. This is not just limited to women, but since I'm a woman reacting to a woman in the video, we'll talk about why women struggle with this. If you consistently tell men that you don't need them, eventually they're going to start to listen to you. Why would they want to be with a woman who says that she doesn't need a man? Men want to feel needed. That's one of the things they want in a relationship. A lot of women who say this type of thing are very combative, hyper-independent. They don't ask for help or let men help, which in return leads to festering resentment that builds up over time and the erosion of a relationship. So it's a bit of a recipe for disaster. And actually, we do need each other, both biologically and socially. Biologically speaking, men and women are designed to complement each other, to ensure the survival of the human species and procreate. You need each other for that. Socially, men and women bring different perspectives, skills, and strengths within a relationship and can support each other in various ways. To give an example, maybe women bring more emotional or nurturing qualities to relationships, while men may bring more logical or problem-solving abilities. And of course, sometimes there's overlap as we differ individually. But we often also have different experiences and perspectives, which can lead to deeper understanding and empathy in relationships. I'm assuming this is why so many of you watch my channel, because I'm offering you a woman's perspective that as a man, you just don't have. The same way that I find it really helpful to read your comments to get a male point of view, because I don't have that. The dynamic between men and women is multifaceted, and both genders benefit from the unique qualities that the other brings to the table. And ultimately, the differences each person brings has the ability to make you stronger together as a unit. Hence, why men and women tend to look for different things when they're dating. And I know this causes a lot of confusion for people, but the sooner you realize that, the more successful your dating experience will be. And let's be honest here, I think it's okay to acknowledge that both men and women are struggling to date at this point, and there are so many different factors playing into that. And certainly there's some overlap in the struggles occurring, but I think there are also many differences. And maybe I'll do a video highlighting the specific differences between the struggles that men are dealing with versus women. If you guys would want to see that, let me know. And I also think it's important to highlight here that maybe it's not all men who are disappointing. Actually, I know it's not all men who are disappointing. I just think you do yourself such a disservice when you slap a generalization on all men or all women instead of really getting to the root of the issue, which a lot of the time has to do with you. I think it's important to take accountability and really acknowledge the fact that, oh, if every guy I date is disappointing, if every guy I date is emotionally unavailable or is emotionally immature, maybe I am choosing poorly. And of course, sometimes people manipulate you and swindle you and lie, and you don't see things for what they are. But generally speaking here, I think a lot of the time it starts with you and what you're attracted to. And I think getting to the root of why you are doing that can really impact your dating life in a positive way. And I'm not going to sit here and solely blame men for all of the dating struggles that are occurring today in 2023, because women certainly play a role as well. The contributions might look a little bit different, but they're both still there. Moral of the story here, to wrap the video up with a big red bow, take accountability for when you choose poorly. Understand that both men and women are contributing to the dating struggles. Instead of blaming everyone else, recognize the areas where you can improve, and understand that your attitude and view of the opposite gender impacts your dating life more than you know. We need each other. Whether you acknowledge that or not, we do. I would not be sitting here if it wasn't for a man and a woman. You would not be sitting here if it wasn't for a man and a woman. And I don't really know how we could argue that. But anyways, that's all I have for this video. If you liked it or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. If you have a video you want me to react to, you can tag me over on TikTok. You can DM it to me on Instagram, send an email, whatever floats your boat. I love reacting to the content that you guys send me. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.